Models. Welcome to day 16 of 30 Days Lost in Space. Today we have a new week starting, so we've got new components to play around with. We have this, the 4-digit display. These are 4 7-segment LEDs, all built into one block, which is controlled with 4 pins. Well, it's controlled with 2 pins. There's power and ground are 2 of the main pins, and then 2 pins control all 4 digits and the 2 decimal places on there as well. So nice and easy to do. Don't need the breadboard for this. I'm going to connect that up with this. So I've got 2 cables already, although not quite the right colors. These are the male to female versions. So we've got ground and plus. So I use the black for ground. I use the white for the positive because that's just the way the wires go. And the other 2 will go onto the other 2 pins. So that's nice and easy. These just need to plug into the board. I'll figure out where in a moment. But first of all, we'll go across to Astrid and find out about today's course.
A new week dawns, my courageous counterpart, and it brings a fresh set of challenges to our undersea sojourn. You may have been enjoying the soothing serenity of the deep ocean, but it's time to point our sights towards the surface. Now, don't get too excited. We can't just jet up there like a dolphin on an energy drink. There are imperative protocols to be followed. As any experienced explorer, such as yourself, knows, rising to the surface too quickly will reduce pressure that will cause our spaceship to explode like a shaken soda bottle. And I believe neither of us would be particularly fond of that outcome. First things first, power. We need all we can muster. So, it would be best to attempt our surface-bound journey when power generation is at its peak. That means midday. To do that, however, we need to know when exactly that is. In other words, we need to build a clock. There's also the matter of the encrypted source code provided to us. Decrypting it is crucial for all of our plans to unfold. So, we have our work cut out for us this week. We need to create a clock, decrypt the code, and most importantly, limit the rate of ascent to prevent us from becoming a bursting submarine balloon. Now, let's put our crafting cap on and get down to business.
Okay, so here we go. This is what we've got to build. We've got our display and connect it to ground and 5 volts, and the other 2, clock and diode, needs to go to pins 6 and 5. So here we go down here. I've plugged in the power. So this needs to go to what we got. Clock, the top one, the red one, needs to go to 6. And the other one to 5. So there's 6 is there. And 5 is, unsurprisingly, next to it. So that's all the wiring to be done today. I'll move that out of the way. Actually, I'll plug that in so I can get everything sorted out. And then I just need to worry about seeing what's on this display when we're dealing with the code. And the code is what comes next. Let's have a look at the code today and what we've got to do with it. We have, yes, let's start at the top. That's probably the best place to start. Day 16, a fancy new display. Right. Sound and Light gives us some good feedback from our hero. What about when we need numbers and the serial console isn't available? Yes, this is what this is for. This gives us actual numbers that we can read away from a computer, basically. So, yeah, let's have a look. Now, the 7-segment LED is set up on 6 and 5, diode pin and clock pin. We've got a library. We're including this library, the TM1637 display library, which, as all of the libraries do, help us understand, help the board to know what's plugged into it and make it easier than trying to do things from the very basics. We can basically just tell it, put a 7 on there, and it knows how to do that. It knows how to do that because the 7-segment LEDs, each one of these is 7 separate LEDs in it in a figure of 8, basically. So all the way around the outside and 1 across the middle. And using that, you can create any of the numbers and several letters. It does actually tell us about that in the code. Yeah, to turn them all on, we've just got to send in those codes, which is fair enough. There we go. The 7-segment display is shaped like an 8 and 7 segments in it. And they're labelled A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Starting at the top with A, on the right is B, then C, D, E, F, and G across the middle. Yeah, the Arduino C++ language uses the single bar. I don't know what it's called. The single line, like an I, but bigger, to do a bitwise OR between values. It takes each corresponding bit in 2 values, and the output is 1 if either or both of the corresponding bits is 1. If votes are 0, then it's 0. Okay, so it's sort of a binary type thing. So if we've got a 0 and a 0, it returns a 0. If any or all of them are 1, it returns a 1. Okay. So there we go. To do a D, we want to turn on segment B, C, D, E, and G. So it's not A, B, C, D, E, and G. So it's making a lowercase d. Yeah, you have to use a bit of creative logic to make some letters on there. Obviously, an A you could do, because that's just an 8 without the bottom bit. A B would be the opposite. A C would be a capital C, or you could do a lowercase c if you like. Then you've got D. E would have to be a capital 1, basically a backwards 3. F you could do. G you could do as a 6, basically as a G. Oh, actually, you do it the other way around. You do it as a 9. 9 and a G are basically the same shape. H you could get. I, yeah. J, yeah, you could get a sort of a J. We wouldn't have the top bit, just have the bottom and that like a backwards L. K would be a problem. You couldn't really do a K, but you could get lots of letters. So that's showing us how to do D, O. O is 0. N and E. I'll do what it says, but I might change it to make the O a lowercase, because the rest of them are lowercase apart from the E. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. I might play around with that to make sure I understand what's going on. So we're setting up the Lander display. Set brightness 7. That's the display brightness, 0 to 7. 7 is apparently the brightest. So this is part of the library. So we're clearing the display. Lander display dot clear is again part of the library. Does it tell me that? There we go. In the display, public void clear. There you go. Then we're waiting for a second, and then we're lighting up all of them, all on. Did we set up an all on? Yes, we did. This is what we set up as all on, is turning everything on. So we're turning everything on for a second, then we're clearing it all for a second. There we go. Microwave after a power outage, blinking 12. Okay, so that's the setup. Is that the loop is clear, all on, clear. And this, is this all? No, it's not all done out. Let's load it up and we'll see what it does, and then we'll figure out from there what's what. Let's just send it all straight in. Done compiling, uploading, done uploading. There we go. All on, all off. 12 flashing. Oh, and then we've got minus 4, 3, 2, 1, and then counting up. Okay, I can see what it's doing. Got it up to 100. Flashing, done. Right, now let's go back to the code and figure out what's what. Actually, I'll send that through again. I'll just go back to the main bench view so you can see it clearer, what it actually did, and then we'll try and figure out why it did it. So there we go. We've got zeros, the flashing 12, and then counting down from 100. And then counting up to 100, I think, as well. 80, 90, 100, and then at 100 it says clear, and then it's done. Right. So let's go back to the code and try and figure out why that was doing that. So we've got the first bit, show number dec x, displaying a decimal number with dot control. Right, okay. So this is part of the library. Show number decimal x. It must be using the thing, and we put 1200 in there. So we could have that say anything you like, wait for half a second, and then clear it. Okay, so yeah, for item 0, it flashes it 4 times. I understand that now. That was looping through again. It flashes it 4 times. So let's change that to from 1200. We'll change it to 9999. Why not? Just to make sure I understand what's going on. Okay. Show a counter including negative sign for negative numbers. Negative numbers cannot be less than -999 because there's not enough room. Okay, so we got for I is make negative 100 if it's less than or equal to 100. Yeah, show the number, and then why is it counting down? I'm not sure why it counts down to begin with. It starts on 0. I don't know. Not sure about that bit, but we'll figure that out. Might have to ask her about that. Then we're clearing it, and then we're saying done. Set segments done. So that was where we've got this one to be set segments done. Bytes done. Right. So let's change this so the O is a lowercase. So for lowercase, I don't want. What do I want on? I want C, D, E, G. So C, B, E, and G. Let's change this to C. That's the easy way of doing it. Got to be capitals. C, B, E, and G. And then we don't need those. So I don't need. Oh, was it deleting all of those? Wait, what? I just delete them like that. C, D, E, and G. So that should be making an O. If I tab that out, can I move that? Yeah, there we go. Put that back in line again. And let's change that to be a lowercase o. So let's run that code again, see if it's updated what it's done. See if I've understood it even a little bit. Let's go back here. So clear, everything on, everything off. 9999, good. And then it does start at negative and counts up. So yes, that's what it was doing. I understand that then. So we're going up and then we're going up. 900. And we're saying done with a lowercase o. Nice. I understand it. I don't need to talk to the AI at all today. So yeah, that's good. I wouldn't have been able to design the code myself, but I understand how it was doing it and why it was doing it. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Hopefully you're happy with that as well. And that's another day completed. We've installed a new library. We've got some code done, and we're ready to go. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching day 16. Join me tomorrow or thereabouts for day 17 when we're going to be building on the same components, possibly adding some more. You never know. So thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and I'll see you soon. Bye bye for now.